Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military with Summary channel, and this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous 12 hours. We have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. And we are going to talk first of all about the talks that took place between the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, and the President of Ukraine, Zelensky. That was something terrible. That was a real and biggest disaster of the 21st century. So this is how everything started. Donald Trump met Zelensky. Zelensky asked him, "How are you?" Trump said he dressed up. So everything started with a joke, but the sources are saying that Trump was insulted. He was very angry that Zelensky at this meeting came in a military uniform and he didn't wear a suit. And then everything started. This disaster was very long. Live fight. This is how people, this is how media and different influencers call the situation that took place between the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, the Vice President of the USA, Vance, and the President of Ukraine, Zelensky. Zelensky and Trump have a heated argument. You are disrespecting the United States. Zelensky spoke out against the ceasefire and truce that Trump just called for. We will never accept just a ceasefire. Russia will violate it, the Ukrainian president said. Trump had previously told Zelensky that a ceasefire in Ukraine was inevitable. We are heading towards World War III. You have no right to play with it. You are disrespecting our country. That was also stated by Trump. Zelensky initially tried to interrupt Trump and object to him, but has now gone quiet and is sitting silently for now. Trump to Zelensky: either we sign the agreement or you withdraw from it. You do not have a strong position. You should be expressing gratitude to us, and you are not doing it. This is bad. Zelensky isn't silent. Trump told Zelensky that he is playing with lives of millions of people. Ukraine has big problems in the conflict with Russia. I know that you are not winning. Trump to Zelensky: we gave you $350 billion. You should be grateful. Zelensky previously said that Putin should pay for the restoration of Ukraine. Trump: I hope I will be remembered as a peacemaker. I do this to save lives. This is more important than anything else. And later we see the beginning of probably the biggest part of the conflict, when the Vice President of the United States of America, J.D. Vance, answers the conversation. Do you think that it is respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country? POTUS, you don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. Of course, Zelensky wasn't like saying a calm. He was talking as well. He said a lot of things, and he said that, for example, Putin is a murderer, a terrorist. No compromises with Putin on our territories. And then the negotiation process ended, and different media, Western media, called those talks as a disaster. That was a diplomatic disaster. There is no other way to describe it. Of all the possible outcomes of today's high-stakes meeting at the White House, Volodymyr Zelensky and Donald Trump screaming at each other was not what anyone had pictured. It goes beyond the worst-case scenario. With that, months, years of careful diplomacy by Ukrainian officials and diplomats went up in smoke. When the smoke cleared, Ukraine-American relations were left lying in a pool of blood. That was stated by The Telegraph. Another important statement: the agreement between Ukraine and the US on the development of mineral resources, for which Zelensky came to Washington, was not signed. White House press secretary. Another important thing: Trump unwilling to talk Zelensky after squabble in White House, CBS News. The USA administration is not confident that it will be able to achieve a ceasefire in Ukraine after Zelensky and Trump's squabble in the White House. Ukrainian officials are desperately trying to get the White House to return to discussions, but to no avail. Trump's national security advisor explained to Zelensky that he made a huge mistake mistake by starting a squabble in the White House. US authorities thought that it would be much more difficult to negotiate a settlement with Putin, but now they see that Zelensky is as a major challenge. Another important thing is that for Ukraine and its European partners, what happened is an absolute nightmare. The only winner here is Russia. That was stated by Sky News. The White House says that the Ukrainians begged for reset, but Rubio and Walz told them that Zelensky needs to leave the White House and return when he is ready for peace. Fox News journalist Jackie Henry. The agreement between Ukraine and the US on the development of mineral resources for which Zelensky came to Washington was not signed. So, and obviously all these things that we've just discussed is the things that have been taking place in the moment, exactly during the negotiations and right after. And the most important updates came to us right after the end of negotiations, more precisely several hours later. Zelensky leaves Ukraine. Zelensky will fly to London soon, immediately after he gives an interview to the American TV channel Fox News. And this is exactly the moment when Zelensky left the White House. This is his car. According to Fox News, Trump asked Zelensky to leave the White House following their discussions. And the most important, that Trump wasn't with Zelensky when Zelensky left the White House. So that was another humiliation, and that was another answer to us whether the United States of America are going to support Ukraine or not. Another important thing is that several hours later, Donald Trump himself made his personal statement regarding the situation and talks with Zelensky. A statement from President Donald Trump. We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure, basically face to face. It's amazing what comes out through emotion, and I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage, I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in the cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace. And obviously all these things also is not the most important. The most important came right after from different offices, government offices of the United States of America. The Pentagon chief ordered the US Cyber Command to stop all activities against Russia, including offensive cyber operations. This was reported by the Industry Republican Record. Another important thing is that the Trump administration is considering cutting off all current military aid to Ukraine after the president's spat with Zelensky, the Washington Post reports. Another important statement by Elon Musk: Zelensky destroyed himself in the eyes of the American people. So Zelensky currently is being attacked by different sides, including media attacks. Very difficult to understand what he's going to do. And later, several hours later, Donald Trump made his final statement: we either end this war or let them fight and see what happens. Ukraine will not like to continue the conflict with Russia without our support. Without US support, Kiev will not win. Zelensky does not want the conflict to end suddenly. He became a big shot because the US is on his side, but without us, he will not win. And here is valid threat to cut off military aid. Zelensky, of course, after everything finished, tried to fix the situation. Probably he realized the problems he managed to create by himself, and he started publishing different statements on his official channels. Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the visit. Thank you, POTUS, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just a lasting peace, and we are working exactly for that. As you can see in this post, the President Zelensky didn't thank the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, which is also another act of humiliation. The Ukrainians began supporting his president. The second person in Ukraine stated that security is not just a word, it is life, it is a future without Syrians, without losses, without fear for those we love. So the Ukrainians decided to support their president and to continue the war. The different representatives of the United States of America also made their own statements. Most Americans after today don't want to do business with Zelensky, myself including. That was stated by Senator Lindsey Graham. And the official channel of the White House made another post where they stated that America first. They posted on the White House official account. Zelensky went to London, as it was written in different articles, it was written by different Ukrainian official authorities. And today, according to information we have, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, confirmed 17 European nations will take part at the Ukrainian summit on Sunday in London. And they're going to discuss exactly what are they going to do with Ukraine, what are they going to do with the European contingent, and how are they going to support Ukraine in this war with Russia without support of the United States of America. During the night, lots of European politicals supported Zelensky. For example, the future Chancellor of Germany, Friedrich Merz, says that he stands with Zelensky and Ukraine. The same was stated by Polish Prime Minister. Dear Ukrainian friends, you are not alone. Dear President Zelensky, dear Ukrainians, you are not alone, wrote Polish Prime Minister. Also, Zelensky was supported by Brussels, and of course Zelensky was supported by Emmanuel Macron. Which is very important, because we see that European countries made their own choice. They decided not to support Trump in his attempts to settle a peace, but they supported Zelensky, who wants to continue the special military operation and war. There's just probably one prime minister in the European Union who supported Donald Trump, and we are talking about Viktor Orban, the prime minister of Hungary. Strong man make peace, weak man make war. Today, President Donald Trump stood bravely for peace, even if it was difficult for many to digest. Thank you, Mr. President. So most likely the war will continue, but obviously now it will be much more easier for the Russians to continue their offensive operation. These days, according to information we have, the chief of the general staff of the armed force of the Russian Federation visited different directions. He visited the group of forces south. He visited the group of forces west. He was inspecting these groups of forces, giving them final orders. Most likely, the Russians are about to begin their major offensive operation, which the Russians supposed will allow them to break through the Ukrainian defense belt and maybe to defeat the Ukrainians completely. The European countries will do everything they can with the purpose to help Zelensky to hold their lines, but anyway, we'll see what is going to be next. Now let's discuss the situation on the ground. We have lots of very interesting updates, and first let's talk about the Suzy direction. According to information we have, the Russians reported that as a result of offensive operation, they managed to establish complete control over the settlement by the name of Zhuravka. Now we see that the Russians are getting closer and closer to the main supply road that goes between the cities of Sumy, Yunakivka and Sudzha. The Russians are advancing in this area, and the main purpose of the Russians is to cut in cauldron the significant number of Ukrainian forces, to capture them, and then to see what is going to be next. Furthermore, according to information we have, the Russians managed to get as close as possible to the settlement of Malaya Loknya. Several sources reported that the Russians have already established complete control over the settlement by the name of Staraya Sorochna. So we see that the Russians are getting closer and closer in this direction as well. As for the southern part, during the previous night, during the previous 12 hours, we haven't received anything. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation in the city of Toretsk, where the very heavy clashes continues. According to information we have, during the previous 24 hours, the Russians managed to counterattack at several parts in the northern area of the city of Toretsk. I'm reminded that yesterday or the day before yesterday, more precisely during the previous 48 hours, the Ukrainians carried out several counterattacks in this area that allowed them to restore control over the central part of the city of Toretsk and over the northern part. Now the Russians are trying to counterattack with the purpose to restore control over the lost territories. Now let's discuss the situation in the South Donetsk direction, where the most important updates are coming from. According to information we have, the Russians during the previous 24 hours managed to secure the settlement of Burlatskaya and the settlement of Skudne, and to establish complete control over these two villages. As for now, we don't have geolocations that can confirm this, but during the night we got several geolocations published by the 110th Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The video is one 1 minute 30 seconds, and during that video there were lots of episodes, lots of violence, and 3 episodes were geolocated. One episode was geolocated in this part of the settlement of Skudne, another one was geolocated to the east of Burlatska, and another one to the south of Burlatska. Based on these geolocations, we have adjusted the map. Basically, we have colored the contested area into the area under complete Russian control. For example, this is the map by the end of the 28th of February, and this is the map by the beginning of the 1st of March. The Russians managed to improve their position significantly, and the Russians continue advancing. The situation for the Ukrainians is very difficult, and when taking into account that Ukrainians most likely will lose any reconnaissance and intelligence information from the United States of America, the things can start developing much faster. And that's it for the short video. Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.